Ready to talk some spoilers?
Yes.
All right, Andrew, hit us with the spoiler cast theme song for this week.
If I laundered $1 million, if I laundered $1 million, well, I'd call Ben Affleck and he would uncook the books.
Yay! It's the spoiler cast for this week's Siftpop. The theme song is different every week because we don't want to give anything away. We're going to talk a little bit more spoilers about The Accountant, and I don't know if there's a ton to spoil about this, but it'll give us an opportunity to talk more in detail about our thoughts. If you want our full thoughts on the movie, obviously check the full review that we did in the Siftpop podcast.
Indeed.
We are once again joined by Chris from Geek.0.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
Sure. Yay. Hi. Whatever.
Woo!
Hello
What up,
works.
Chris?
Hi guys. Yay works too.
Hi, guys.
There you go. So let's go into this movie a little bit deeper. This obviously is, I guess I felt like it wasn't a spoiler to say he's both an accountant and an action hero, because that's kind of the gist of the movie.
Yeah.
Although I was surprised by that, again, because I didn't know anything about this movie. So when that, happened for me in the movie, it was a little bit of a shock, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But we start with the childhood version of this guy and trying to figure out, what exactly is going on with him. His parents take him to, an expert, and I think in the regular show I talked about, one of those reveals. I was talking about the puzzle of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You say that was in the
trailer.
Was it the putting the last piece in the underneath shot? Oh, that was such a gorgeous shot.
And I only saw one trailer for it, and the trailer that I saw didn't have that in it.
Oh, really?
So I actually got to be surprised by it too, which was cool.
The trailer I saw had the puzzle and then him beating up all the kids in the rain. That was the trailer I saw.
Wow. Okay, so basically he puts a puzzle together, and you realize he's putting a puzzle together super fast, and it's like this bang bang reveal of not only was he putting it together really fast, he was putting it together upside down.
Where it was just the gray cardboard underneath.
Yeah, so he didn't even need the picture.
Yeah.
He was just looking at the shapes. And so in order to reveal that, putting that last piece in, they shoot it from below the glass table and shoot the picture of, Muhammad Ali as he's boxing or whatever. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So we are also introduced there to another character who doesn't have a name, but is the girl who finds the last piece of the puzzle for him.
Yep.
And here's, big spoiler alert, because it's never really even alluded to for the rest of the movie. But she plays a major role by the end. She's the voice that kind of guides him along the way.
And that's what I talk about predictability right there.
You saw that one coming?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
So I didn't catch it either.
I didn't catch that at all.
As soon as you hear her voice and I don't know who the woman is, I'm like, oh well, it's the little girl and the that helped him out earlier.
Really?
I knew that, and I knew that J.K. Simmons was going to be the cop at the very, very beginning of the movie that you never see his face. I knew that was going to be J.K. Simmons, and then I think the big one everybody knew was John Bernthal's.
Nostradamus or something. That's crazy, man.
And I think everybody knew John Bernthal was his brother.
That's the one. That's the one I was talking about. The fact, because they never say anything about who his brother is, and there's only one obvious choice the entire time. And pretty much from the very first moment we meet him, which is in the car, right, where he goes in the car and tells the guy to quit, laundering his money or whatever. Mm-hmm. I knew that was his brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't think the movie was trying to hide that from us.
No, I don't think so either.
I just think it was not revealing it explicitly.
They were just hiding it from John Lithgow.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So,
which he kind of had a kind of forgettable performance. And maybe that's what I was talking about earlier. I don't want to start off with the negatives, but we were talking about underused characters. Mm-hmm. So John Lithgow and Anna Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were both incredibly underused.
I agree.
Yeah,
to the point where I didn't really think that Anna Kendrick's character served a purpose in the movie, other than to not have Ben Affleck's character do what he always does whenever his cover's blown and run.
Mm-hmm.
She was like the only driving force to keep him there. Mm-hmm. But then that was it. She was done.
I think it was to bring out some level of humanness in Affleck's character too. That there might be, some sort of romance there, possibly.
Starting to break through and create a human connection.
But I think that they did a good enough job early on when you first see adult Affleck as the accountant with that old couple, trying to help them with their taxes, and he's being very nice to them, like, oh well, you built these little necklaces. Well, that means you have an office, and you can write that off on your taxes. We'll just say that you have a 300 square foot office, and I think that enough humanized him.
Yeah, and there were several moments like that in the movie too.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I don't think that Anna Kendrick's character was needed.
But I think that's the purpose she served. Whether it was needed or not, you might be right.
And we never would have. It wouldn't have led us to getting to the bottom of the mystery of who was actually embezzling. And so there was that too, that he had to finish the puzzle, and her character was almost the impetus of him having to save her allowed us to find out that it was John Lithgow behind it the whole time, and not the other first guy, and then Gene Smart, and then So
I think you've already mentioned, like so many people. You've mentioned people. I think this movie was a little overloaded, and I think that's one of the reasons I felt like there were some missing pieces and some missing resolutions, some missing motivations, those kind of thing. Let's talk specifically about J.K. Simmons, because we mentioned it in the show proper. I did not understand why on earth he would take this woman who he wanted to take over for him on this wild goose chase when he already knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I get that maybe there's some level of testing her, like he wants to see how good she is before he hands it over or something. But it just seemed like a weird way to do it, because anything could have happened that way instead of just bringing her in and you know what I mean? It just because the reason it exists in the movie is because we're supposed to have a motivation. Oh, is he going to get caught? Is he not going to get caught? Which turns out there was
It
didn't matter. He was never going to get caught. They were never out to catch him. So I don't know. It seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, because they kind of played it there at the end, like, I'm going to turn him in anyway because he's still doing terrible things, and he's still straight up going on murder sprees.
Right. Yeah.
So it was kind of weird. Maybe he was like testing her to see if she was worthy to carry the mantle or something.
Yeah.
Or that's kind of what I took from it.
Yeah. And getting back on the pacing thing that I brought up in the show proper, there's a scene with Cynthia Robinson, who plays the young operative, and J.K. Simmons, where they're in Ben Affleck's house. That scene went on really long.
Yeah.
And it just totally ruined the pace of the movie. Another character, do you guys even remember Jeffrey Tambor was in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he was hardly in it.
And also another kind of shallow, motivated character. Like there wasn't enough about him to understand why he was doing what he's doing. I mean, I think they tried to lay it out, but it just seemed unresolved and
like motivated. He was looking for an apprentice to take over for him because he was getting out of the life or what. I mean, I don't know.
Here's what I think. I think that there are three characters in this movie: Anna Kendrick, Jeffrey Tambor, and in some part J.K. Simmons, where they could have made all three of those different characters into one character. And
find a way to combine the plot necessities of those characters into one.
Exactly. And I think it would have been a much more fluid movie. The pacing would have been way better. You wouldn't be going from this character to this character to this character. And I think that it would have made the emotional connection between Affleck and this one character so much more powerful and real.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because it's interesting, right? Because the J.K. Simmons character is emotionally connected to Affleck, but Affleck's not necessarily emotionally connected to him.
Yeah.
Right? Like Simmons had that experience, but Affleck, it wasn't, a huge thing in his life. But Affleck was so emotionally connected to Tambor's character that's why he went and took out the Gambino family.
Yep.
And ended up impacting J.K. Simmons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you've got those two characters. I don't know how you would find your way around that plot.
And I didn't even know if Ben Affleck even knows J.K. Simmons.
No, he probably
is on
doesn't.
The back end. I mean, I guess maybe he does because he asked him if he was a
good man.
father, a good man.
And that's what I was talking about in the show proper, about the most emotional scene in the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Was that J.K. Simmons,
in the hallway there.
Are you a good man? Are you a good father? And I'm like, man, this is really deep and powerful. And
it speaks to something like we were talking about with Ben Affleck's father too, about, was he a good father? Was, there were certain things, I mean, we can get specific since we're talking spoilers, but when they go to the specialist and he's like, nope, he's not going to see a specialist. We're just going to make him experience more of the things that destroy him.
Yeah, the world, the world's not a quiet place.
And
so
I'm sitting
why
there
should
going,
we teach him
you're an awful father.
Yeah.
And then as the movie progresses, we get to see that he really does care about him. He just doesn't necessarily understand how to show it. And there are direct consequences for how he raised his boys and who they've turned out to be. But he really did do it from a place of love, which is that's a really common actual human thing.
Did anybody get like a Dexter kind of feel off that?
Yes. Yeah, that is exactly what
the
it is.
dad teaching like a code.
Yep.
Yeah. That would have been, yeah. Oh, I was thinking like, wait, his father was never like a vision to him, but now I understand that connection of like,
right,
this mentor who, because he did join the army just like his father and stuff, and then his father died, and then that sent him to prison. Is that how he got to prison?
No,
and that's where he met Jeffrey Tambor, because at the funeral
he beat the crap out of those guys because
that's what he went to.
Mom's
funeral. He went to prison for the funeral scene, right?
Yeah.
Or did he escape from prison and then go to the funeral?
No, he was still in the army when he.
And this is what I'm talking about, though, with the plot just kind of being unhinged a little bit. You know, it's just like it seemed like it could have been cleaned up quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think in that way. The other morally complex character is the brother, and we didn't talk a lot about this in the movie itself, but it was interesting because the way they portrayed him, the first one, you can almost go, okay, he's trying to do a good thing, even though he's using force to do it. He doesn't actually kill anybody.
Yep.
The second time we see him do something is when he forces the guy to commit suicide. So that's obviously really rough. And are we supposed to believe he didn't know exactly what the truth in that situation was, so he thought he was doing a good thing? Or is it just supposed to be total redemption at the end where he's like, oh, I want to be with you? Or is there a changing moment for that brother?
I don't know, because it's like he tried to do, because he's like, look, you commit the suicide, your wife will get the life insurance.
Right, they're almost trying to paint that we're okay with him in some ways.
Paint it that like he's trying to do the right thing.
I didn't get that at all.
Thing.
I thought we were supposed to think he was totally sleazy at that moment. Like he just didn't want to get his hands dirty, sort of thing. Like, I'll get my hands dirty if I have to, but hey, why don't you just take care of this little problem for us?
I think we're supposed to see somebody who is fighting with his own darkness.
That's kind of what I took from it as well.
That's interesting. I didn't take it that way.
And I think that's what's supposed to be revealed in the final scene too. Is he's now that he's confronted with the fact that it's his brother that's coming to to get them.
Yeah.
That there's that final actual literal confrontation with the brothers, which I found very believable.
Yeah.
Like their conversation felt like they were brothers who had grown up together and gone their separate ways, and I found that really believable.
And the fact that Ben Affleck was just like, hi. He's like, really? It's all you have to say to me after all this time is, hi.
I missed you.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't get why people, and you were saying that people weren't a fan of Affleck's performance. That scene right there just solidified for me how good he was in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
So,
I also like at the end where Lithgow, who's apparently the big baddie in the movie, which is a little weird.
Yeah, which we find out with like
because there's not a lot of oomph there, right?
No.
Like it's just like I don't care. Like
I didn't care at all that he was the villain,
especially with how good of a bad guy he can be.
Yeah, we all speaking of Dexter.
Yeah.
I was gonna say and Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
right, guys.
Yes,
he was Footloose.
Oh yeah, he wasn't Footloose, but. There was just no buildup. I think if they would have stuck to the original guy that they were trying to lead us to believe was the launderer, if they would have stuck to him, because the whole time they initially tell you that Lithgow is the good. He's like, I don't care about money. I just want to help people, and that's how they paint him. They don't paint him as the villain. So whenever it's revealed that he's the villain, he's not the villain long enough.
Yeah, we haven't had any time.
Him.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't had any time to care about whether he succeeds or fails.
Yeah,
because we haven't had any time knowing that it was him, really.
And then even at the end, he's sticking to the fact that I was doing this to make the stock go higher, so I could invest more money into the company.
I actually think a lot of that stuff makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe he's not actually the bad guy. Maybe there is no bad guy in the movie. You know what I mean? Like everybody's morally ambiguous in this movie.
Yeah, but if he's not a bad guy, then why did he hire all of those mercenaries to try and kill Ben Affleck? Because it wasn't a very well developed character.
Yeah,
right. And again, I think the movie deals with that throughout. It just a lot of characters that aren't fully complete, a lot of storylines that aren't complete. It almost felt like they were, even with some of the origin stuff of the brothers, especially. It felt like there were missing pieces to their relationship even. There's a huge chunk where we don't know how they went their separate ways.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they saving it for a sequel? Like, do they think they're going to continue to tell this story?
No, I actually kind of got a sequel vibe to this movie.
I did too.
I don't know if it needs one.
I don't know.
I think it's a self-contained story. I don't think it needs.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs one either, but I definitely got the sense that they wanted to make way for one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's the movie's main flaw is probably it doesn't feel complete in so many ways. It doesn't feel like stories are complete or characters are complete or the plot is complete in some ways.
So talking about the woman on the phone, who did you guys think was going to be the woman on the phone?
I just thought it was like a
idea.
robot or something. I didn't even think it was I didn't know that it was necessarily a person. I
didn't know if you thought it was like maybe Anna Kendrick was pretending the whole time and that it was.
Well,
I
will say my brain at one point said, "Okay, is Anna Kendrick the person who handed him the piece in the home?" And I was like, I don't think that works out age wise.
Yeah,
and she seemed a little more, difficult,
developed.
Yeah, developmentally challenged to be able to have developed to that stage. So I didn't know. I had. No
I guess
clue.
I didn't try to.
Oh, you didn't care much?
I didn't care. It was just like I looked at it as it's his handler.
Yeah, it never occurred to me to try
really
to figure that out as if that was a mystery. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting, because immediately I was like, it's the girl. It's the little girl all grown up.
I honestly did not know that till they actually revealed it.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, till that actual moment where she said,
I went,
sweetheart, what does she call him? Dreamboat.
Dreamboat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justine was her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can that computer really run the Pentagon?
No idea. I don't know what's inside of it. All I saw was a case.
So so here's the thing.
It's a nice Corsair case.
Yeah. And he was like, that's a 12-core computer. I'm like, you're looking at the case. How do you know what's inside of it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
so that was the thing.
What we don't know is that he has X-ray vision, and he's going to be a huge part of the sequel.
What? It's a sci-fi film. But no. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm actually leaning more towards. I think I'm still going to say I liked it, but those big holes, because I said in the show proper, there's 2 or 3 just big problems with the movie.
It does have problems for sure.
But then I just look back at like the sound
in the moments, and there are these moments that really get you. Some of those action moments, where he saves the farmer and his wife.
That was probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, It's incredible. And there's this great, hilarious moment at the end where he's like, okay, I got to go, or something like that after they've been watching him, destroy these people.
He just waves bye to him.
Yeah.
Bye.
That was one of the humor moments. You just crack up. Loved it.
And what was... Oh, man, I had something else I was going to say. Do you guys have anything?
No, I just think it's really interesting to have like an autistic killer like that, and just the idea, like when he kills Lithgow at the very end, just very straightforward, just like right in the middle of his sentence, just like headshot. It's like, there's also something refreshing about that, because you watch other movies where people are awful, and it's like, why haven't they killed people already? Why are they letting them talk? It's just like, do your job. Yeah, exactly.
So the thing that confused me, maybe you guys can shed some light on this, the pinwheel on the leg, and then the metal music, and then the flashing light.
That's one of those other things unresolved. Why? Where did that start? Why does he do it? How is that therapy? How does that work?
I mean, maybe it creates sensory overload for him at the time.
I'm sure.
So that the normal world is easier to cope with, I guess.
But that's what I'm talking about. There being missing pieces. Like, how did he become independent? How did he separate from his dad? How did how did he join the army? What happened there's just so much that's like that. It's okay that it's missing, but it sure seems like it could have helped the character if we knew a little bit more about some of those things.
Exactly.
So,
do you think that it would have been better served as a linear story, like go all the way through his childhood and then progress, don't do flashbacks and stuff?
I don't know that you could do it that way. Yeah. That would be difficult to do, I think.
Because then you just be waiting the entire time, okay, when are we going to get to Ben Affleck?
Yeah, unless you did like a large, like start at the beginning, chunk in the middle, and I mean like Oreo cookie it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the only other way you could have done it.
Yeah. I don't know that the structure was too bad. I think it was just the stuff that was chosen to be shown. I think there's just a lot of incompleteness in it. So, anything else?
I still think that people should go and see this in theaters. For the sound alone.
Yeah, the sound was amazing.
I can't stress enough how good the sound in this movie is.
You can even just, close your eyes, kick back, just listen.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't even need to watch.